The Town Council meeting held this evening on Monday, the 2nd of June, commencing at 7 p.m. We've got no planned fire drill, so if the fire alarm does go off, please make your way slowly and calmly to the exits at front and rear. Thank you. Item number 2, apologies for absence.
Councillor Fraser.
Councillor Fraser. Anybody else? No, I think it Item number 3, declarations of interest. Anybody got anything to declare? No? Nobody? Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor.
Same as last time.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and the same for myself.
Right.
What item, sorry?
14.
14. Moving on to item number 4, public participation. We are restricted to 10 minutes officially on this, but can I have an indication of how many people would like to speak? Okay, 10 minutes should suffice then. Okay, starting, first gentleman stood up.
I do apologise for my previous conversation.
That's okay.
Other meeting, I actually thought I had turned up late, so and you started. Can I just say, I've noticed that Councillor Fraser has actually stood away from the Conservative Party, but I want to ask, why is he still standing as a councillor when actually he's been involved in criminal activity? And surely that is kind of quite immoral. And he's not publicly apologised to this gentleman, as far as I know.
The only thing I would add at this stage, it's not gone to trial yet. So until it goes to trial and any findings come to light, I certainly don't feel comfortable commenting. I don't think.
But he's been caught, hasn't he, doing what he was doing? Yeah.
I don't know.
And quite frankly, I would actually think that he shouldn't be standing or sitting or attending any council meetings whilst he's waiting to go to court.
Well, so I can only say that you know, I'm not prepared to comment on something that's not gone to trial yet. So, but Councillor Taylor.
I think actually the more appropriate channel for that is to ask Councillor Fraser. I don't think any of us can speak on behalf of another councillor.
Well, we did actually ask him last time, and he refused to actually speak to the gentleman here. So actually, it's a complete joke, isn't it? Really. I mean, you may sit there and say what you say, but actually, if he's not prepared to speak up, then it's a complete waste of time, isn't it? With respect.
Thank you. Next person, please. Yes, gentleman at the rear.
Mervyn Beals. I feel there's a need to talk about an event that took place in the town over the weekend on Saturday. I'll first ask a question of the councillors. Do you know what A to Better Your Journey, Your Way stands for?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
A to Better Your Journey, Your Way. Right, can I explain?
Please do. Yeah.
I think it's a walking and cycling initiative, isn't it?
Indeed, yes. That was an event, well, of sorts, that took place at the Scout Hall on Saturday between the hours of 11 and 4 p.m. You might wonder why I'm standing here, simply because my wife and myself are heavily involved with the Ramblers group that's based in Attleborough. And with about a week's notice, we managed to get 6 of our people there to attend that event. It was held at the Scout Hall, who provided refreshments. throughout the time that we were there, which was about 10:15 to 2, there was a grand total of about 15 members of the public that attended. Now, having spoken to the 2 young ladies that were there from Norfolk County Council, that is funded by Section 106 money. And the reason they were in Attleborough was because that money relates to 2 building schemes. One that's finished, Newlands, London Road, and the Gables, which isn't finished, Norwich Road. Now, one of them, the one that was leading it, also told me that they asked the town council about a venue and were told they couldn't have the rec because it had already been booked. They know, because they were there for at least 5 or 6 hours, that there was actually nothing organised on the rec on Saturday. They were then told that they could have had gamers and were offered the far end where the athletics is, but they turned that down. So it finished up at the Scouting. Now, to be totally blunt about it, that's not a very good showing of this town, is it really? There seems to be a complete lack of communication or help from the town council for these ladies in Norfolk County Council. And it was an embarrassment to be there, to be honest. There were 3 policemen there who were meant to be security coding bicycles. I think they might have done 1. There were a couple of businesses there, a couple of charities there, and that was it. It was not good. I said to them that I would come here tonight and explain this, and I will email them in the morning with the thoughts and ideas that come from this meeting tonight. Because I said to them, they need to come back in a year's time, but they need to come here again for something that's properly organised. I'll tell you something just to embarrass everybody in this room. Yesterday, I went with my wife to Sheringham. We drove through Horsford. This is a 1-street village. And there was a massive great banner which said tournament next to the village hall. If you don't know Horsford, it's the school, village hall, and behind it is the rec. There was a football tournament on. And believe it or not, they were doing park and ride. From one end of Horsford to the other, people to get to that tournament. And I thought, what can Attleborough put on? We put on absolutely nothing.
Can I respond to that, please?
Certainly,
Because,
please.
actually, when the ATB Roadshow approached us, they actually did ask the gamers. And I did initially offer them the far end because I was mindful that if they were going to have any vehicles on there, we didn't really want them to ruin the football pitches. So initially, they weren't happy with that. Initially, the communication that I had was that there was an event on the rec. As it turned out, the event was in the evening, which I wasn't aware of. So what happened was I have had numerous communications with them, and I then did offer them the near side to gamers, but they declined that, and they said, no, we have been in touch with the Scouts because we're downsizing the event. We feel that the Scouts, and I have the emails to prove it, I have them, Mervyn, and I can show you. I can show them to you. The ATB contact said to me, no, we're actually going to go with the Scouts because we're downsizing the event, and the Scout premises are much more suitable. But what we did do for them was we did allow them to cut off part of the car park so they could put some vehicles on there, which they seemed very happy with. So I'm quite disappointed that they're saying that to you because I have the emails to prove otherwise.
Well, I'm feeding back to you the impression that I got and others got from actually being there on the day. It was a total disaster.
Well,
And I'm not just blaming the town council, I'm blaming the town council and Norfolk County Council. It's all funded by us, isn't it? Everyone who's sitting here tonight.
I
And
do
it's a
think
failure.
I do think it's unfair to criticise us, like making it look as if we're blocking them from booking a venue when we, and how many times did I have emails from A to B Roadshow? I've had, I would say I'd have about 12 to 15 separate emails from them where we have tried very, very hard to accommodate them. So for them to say that we didn't let you have gamers is untrue.
Has it just got to be a cycling and walking?
Sorry?
Was it just to be a cycling and walking thing? Or was it not just a sports health thing?
I'm
Because
not
I think it should be.
I'm not actually sure what's
That's the
behind it.
question I'm
They
gonna ask
just
them.
wanted a venue and we tried to accommodate them. So obviously we had to ask the question, what type of vehicles are you going to have? And initially they did say there was going to be a bus there, which is why I was not very happy about them having a bus also at the far end, because I didn't want that to damage the grass. You don't know what the weather's going to be like either this time of year. So I feel as if we did try very hard to accommodate them.
It certainly sounds like it. Councillor Taylor.
Can I just wanted to ask Mr. Bills, how did you see that advertised? Because you did. So how did you know it was
It came to
happening?
us from Ramblers Norfolk, who suddenly thought, oh, that'd be a good idea if it's a walking thing, that we ought to be this.
So Norfolk County Council hadn't actively advertised it on social media or
Apparently they had. Don't ask me about social media, because I don't want to go there, you know, I'm not.
do you mind asking them how they advertised it when you contact them? Because
I could do that, they said on social media.
It was actually, we actually put a poster on our Facebook page and we did ask the groundsman, I'm not sure if they did do it, but we did ask them to put the various posters on our notice boards.
Never happened.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
It was an A4
Councillor Down.
sign put up on the gate after these ladies got there about 10 o'clock.
They did actually ask for gamers, and we as a council voted for them to have it, but they declined it. So you can't do everything. You know, we as a council said yes, they could use gamers. It was the clerk brought it up and we voted for it. So they changed their minds, not us. It was there for them.
They turned it down.
Okay, well, it sounds there's some miscommunication there.
I will email them back and tell them what you said. But what I'm trying to say is that next year, if it's to go ahead, and I think it should be more than just a cycling, walking, you know, biking thing. It should be a sports group health,
Yeah.
which should then make it a lot bigger. Because there's lots of organisations in this town that could get involved, should get involved.
Thanks for your point. We need to move on now, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Thank you. Just a quick point.
We've just checked, you did advertise it on the town council website on the 6th of May, but you didn't advertise it since then. I just want to clarify, there's a lot of people here tonight who probably haven't ever been to a town council meeting, don't quite understand how things operate. So I think just for clarification, can you confirm that the clerk is employed by the councillors through the personnel committee, and that the clerk is interviewed and appointed by the town council, and the role of the clerk is to implement the decisions of the town council, and that the clerk advises legally, but is not in charge of the town council. It's actually the other way around, where the town councillors actually ask the clerk to implement things.
Exactly right.
And so therefore, my question is, who looks after your Facebook page? Who actually puts the posts on there? We've just had an example of an event that was last advertised on the 6th of May. We've seen quite a few other adverts for your own events, but this is supposed to be promoting community events. So could you have a word with whoever actually maintains the Facebook page and ensure that community events are actually highlighted on there and not your own events.
We can certainly do that.
And on the same score, there was a post on Facebook a few weeks ago, a discussion about the Kindness Cafe and the Chambers, both of which are very good initiatives, but your clerk stated that the Chambers is merely hosted by the Town Council. That was the word, merely host the event. So my question is, if you merely host the event, why are Attleborough Town Council doing all the paperwork and invoicing for this event? And bearing in mind that you're now wanting to charge community groups to put up the furniture for the events, who puts the furniture up for the Chambers Cafe? Is it the caretaker who's not here tonight? And do you charge the Chambers for putting up the furniture? I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding going on here. I think you really need to clarify things to the public.
Can I say something? As a volunteer at Chambers, we get the chairs and tables out.
Well, go on, yeah.
So that, you know, that's an example, but then you're now charged. I think also in the same post, your clerk stated that Meet Up Mondays have the use of the hall free of charge, but they've recently been asked to contribute to putting up the tables. I think the figure was, why can't you contribute 50p each? Well, most of them are disabled or elderly. Yeah, and it just seems you're sending the wrong message across. You're not supporting community groups.
We did try and work with Mervyn and his Meet Up Mondays group, and we have come to a solution where they don't have to pay, and because we have the community cafe, which is set out on a Sunday, we leave the tables out so they don't have to set them up, and they don't have to set them down either.
We need to try and be as consistent as possible, but, you know, each thing needs to look at in its own merits. Yeah, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, thanks. A couple of times I've raised the issue where you've had within your finances misuse of a council mobile phone. So, sorry, a council got something to say? Oh, okay. So I know I've mentioned it a couple of times. The last time was at the general purpose and finance because Sharon had been able to give me the figure, because originally no one knew the figure. So I mentioned it in public participation at that meeting. It didn't make it into the minutes of that meeting, it wasn't recorded. And it does feel as though it's trying to be kept from the public. So for the benefit of the press and public here, the amount of misuse on that mobile phone was £3,744. Apparently that was done by one person over a couple of days.
No, it wasn't over a couple of days. It was, I believe, between, it was January, February, wasn't it? Leading into March, I think. I can't remember the exact month, but it was over a period of time. And that ex-employee is going to pay he's going to pay half of everything, half.
Sorry, originally you told me that person was paying £100 a month, but it paid off.
No, he's paying 50%, which was, I think that was limited, I hope.
No.
Well,
it's also not in the email you sent me.
Okay, was it, okay, it wasn't an FO either, was it?
So does that mean this person's taken, what, £1,850 worth of public money?
Yeah.
That was used on a...
No, it's basically because we felt that because we, as the town council, hadn't put a cap on those work mobiles, it wasn't actually in place at the time. So therefore, by the time this had been discovered, when the bill came through, the country bill came through, we discovered that because there was no cap, this person really wasn't au fait with using modern technology. So that's the situation.
The reason I brought this up was because it felt like it was a cover-up, and the fact that more comes out every time. And I know some councillors found this funny and have, you know, sniggered about it. I was on about mobile phone again. But personally, I object to having my council tax money being frittered away by somebody.
Absolutely.
I don't know how other people feel about it. I think that's wrong.
The ex-employee was not au fait with technology and he didn't even realise what he was doing. So, sorry, that was the situation.
Okay, that's one thing, but it's the cover-up part of it that's
No, nobody was trying to cover anything up. And I've just told you in public what the situation is. We felt as if 50% was fair because if we didn't put a cap on it, that's also our fault as well.
Well, are you 12 going to split the bill then? Why are we paying it? You're saying it's your fault as well, it's not our fault.
Move on, please.
Okay. Moving on now, we've exhausted the time available for public participation. Moving on to item 5, minutes of the Town Council meeting, annual meeting held on the 12th of May 2025. Anybody got any comments or proposal to accept them? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Dalton, all those in favour? Thank you. Right, moving on to item 6, financial matters. A, to authorise payments for acceptance and approval. Anybody got any comments? Have a proposal, please. Councillor Reynolds, Councillor Dale, all in favour?
I'm going to abstain, I've no time to read it.
Okay, thank you. Item B, to agree direct debits. Any comments or have a proposer? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Dalton, all those in favour? Thank you. Majority again. You abstain again?
Yes.
Yeah. Item 6C, to receive income for acceptance and approval. Any comments or proposer? Councillor Dale, Councillor Taylor, all in favour? Thank you. Item 6D, petty cash for information. Any comments? No. Item 6E, income and expenditure for April 2025 for information. Any comments arising from that? No. Item 6F, the insurance schedule for acceptance and approval. Any comments on that? No. Can we propose to accept that, please? Councillor Reynolds, seconded. Councillor Dalton, all in favour? Thank you. And finally, item 6G, to ratify the order for polling cards for the forthcoming election for acceptance and approval. Councillor Burton to approve. Propose, Councillor Dale to second.
Can I just ask the clerk, how many councillors actually responded to your email and agreed that polling cards should be made available to the residents, please? Three. Was that before or after the public meeting?
But the public meeting?
Yeah.
Probably after.
So there was none in before the public meeting, no one actually said to you that the residents should get polling cards before the public meeting?
Don't think so.
Can you please name the councillors that actually said the residents should get polling cards in their responses to you via email before we ratify it here?
What, do you want me to actually now?
Name the 3 councillors, or if the 3 councillors would like to show their hands.
Yeah.
Who replied? I replied, Councillor Thwaites replied.
I don't think I replied, but I'm certainly in favour.
So only 3, but there's only 2 here that can show their hands, actually agreed the residents should get polling cards prior to that public meeting, because I know I done it before the public meeting, and I know Councillor Thwaites did. Yet I note on social media there are comments made that they were definitely getting polling cards, yet this council hadn't made that commitment at that time, and that raises concerns and red flags for me. But I totally support it, but I do think it is important when there are such volatile times that members actually do bother to read their emails and respond to them prior to giving out advice to residents.
Do we have a proposal?
Propose it down.
Yeah. So all in favour, please? Okay, thank you. Item 7, conclusion of the financial year 2024-25. Section A, internal audit report for the year ended 31st of March 2025 for acceptance and approval. Do you want to pass any comments about that?
Well, no, I'd just like to thank Anne for all of her hard work on the accounts, because she does a lot of the inputting, the reports, and she does a lot of the submissions to the to anyone who needs the information. So it was a good report, and it was very positive. We underpaid HMRC by £1.24. I think that was the only thing that commented on.
Okay, thanks very much for all your hard work on that, and it's a good outcome. Can I have a proposer for accepting the report, Councillor Taylor? Councillor Wenham to second. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 7C, completion of annual return for the 31st of March 2025, consideration resolution. There's the annual governance statement and the accounting statement for the Town Council.
I've got to do the, sorry, that's end of year financial reports, just to accept first. B, before we did go to the annual return. We've done A, and we're now on B.
Right, sorry. So then end of year financial report, sorry, I thought I'd already done that one. Acceptance approval. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Councillor Taylor to propose. Councillor Dalton to second. All those in favour? Carried. Now moving on to section C. Completion of annual returns. So section 1 of the annual governance statement and section 2 the annual accounting statement for the Town Council. Proposal for that. Councillor Reynolds. Councillor Taylor to second. All those in favour? Thank you.
I'm going to have to sign that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're just there. I sign it.
Okay, moving on to item 8, councillors' reports. Anybody got
Oh,
anything?
sorry, section 2 to do, sorry.
Councillors' reports. Anybody got anything they want to report? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, it's been a busy month. It's been a busy month. I did attend a business forum meeting with district businesses from all over the district, along with Councillor T. Taylor and the Shadow Chancellor, just really a brainstorming session on what the district could benefit from. There was tech companies, agricultural companies, hospitality companies, numerous different ventures that are represented. It was informative, and hopefully the message will get taken back to Westminster on what the district needs. It was productive, and hopefully we can try and maybe rearrange something else for closer to home. This one was held in Dereham. The aspiration is to get something more local, so this side of the district can get representation as well, although there were businesses from our area there. Just the general other meetings, but it's not been too bad this month.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got anything to add? No? Okay, moving on to the clerk's report, item 9.
As you know, there have been 3 resignations, Ed Tyrer, Simon Wingfield and Tristan Ashby, leading to 3 casual vacancies. Following a call by electors for an election, the date of the election for the 3 vacancies shall be Thursday the 3rd of July. The cost of the election, I reported, would be up to 12,000. That does need to be confirmed. We have put a query in. And that higher cost is quite likely due to the necessity for polling cards to be issued. For those considering an election, there is quite a lot to consider. The time, the role of councillor demands, the expectation to join committees, the required training and learning about procedural matters involved. The emails and supporting papers are most often frequent, substantial, and the timescales very often quite tight. However, I am there to help, advise and support wherever that's required. We do have a good support network in addition, namely Norfolk Parish Training Services. When approached about a vacancy, I always try to advise that councillors are free to give as much time as they can and wish towards their council work. However, it is expected that councillors take on the role with the needs and wants of the townspeople uppermost in their minds and to be as available as they possibly can. On the whole, this is most often not needed to say, as those new councillors are already residents or they work in the town and they have its best interests at heart. They are also expected to sign up to and uphold 7 known principles that are contained in the Code of Conduct when carrying out their duties. Officers of the council are also expected to uphold these principles when carrying out their duties. These are honesty, integrity, objectivity, accountability, selflessness, openness and leadership. If residents encounter a breach of any of the above principles, the correct course of action is to make a complaint to the Brecon Council Monitoring Officer. They would expect a complaint to contain evidence of the wrongdoing. In return, in carrying out their role, councillors and council staff would expect to be given the courtesy of being treated with respect. Having become aware of some recent social media pages containing many derogatory posts and images directed towards some of our councillors, there most certainly is much misinformation and in some cases defamatory language which could be construed as libellous. The effect of such posts is extremely damaging to the recipients and to the town's reputation. Some known unknown individuals using fake profiles have decided to take it upon themselves to treat some councillors with disrespect publicly. Physical violence and name calling have happened to town councillors in the past 8 weeks. Also, in the name of so-called satire, the ridiculing of councillors, namely the Taylors, by way of so-called cartoon depictions can only be meant as malicious. However, when challenged, the commenters on such odious pages say we should all lighten up and get a sense of humour. Easy to say if you're not on the receiving end. Decent conduct is something we are all expected to demonstrate in the town. We can hardly demand our councillors uphold the code of conduct, but at the same time be free to conduct a campaign of hate. The hatred portrayed may well come out of frustration and most likely personal grudges. I've seen firsthand the negative effects on our councillors, some of which have been very, very worrying. This is exactly why I called for an extraordinary meeting to be able to address the issue of hate. My requests were to find a way to stop the trolls from posting vitriol against anyone being targeted. Also to offer any type of practical support, having come across an article written by the Local Government Association, the LGA, entitled Debate for Hate. Within this article, section 5, there is mention that councillors ought to offer support in the form of counselling where needed in the course as a result of their public duties as councillors. At the EGM on the 30th of April, councillors voted unanimously to investigate a counselling package. Our current HR advisors, Peninsula, have offered a package at £750 a year. It covers 8 staff and 15 councillors. That gives them 6 sessions maximum, plus some financial advice. It equates to £2.71 per individual per month. If you just count the councillors, it equates to £1.76 per councillor per month. As of today, not one councillor has followed through with a request for possible counselling. I'll just have to say to you, I'm a bit nervous, sorry. Oh, that's better. Let's take on board here that councillors are someone's son, daughter, sister, brother, mother, father. They are human beings with feelings. Moreover, surely they came forward to be elected for the betterment of our town and you all its inhabitants. If you are asking me to name the acts of hate conducted in the past few weeks, I have been given permission to share some of them. For whatever reasons, the Taylors have had groups of people passing by their premises, banging on the windows and doors, kicking their doors, shouting obscenities. Their car headlights have been smashed. Taylor has been viciously bitten on the hand, drawing blood while ejecting a couple from their premises who were not welcome to be in there. Not necessarily a council matter until the male begins declaring that they have been assaulted by the mayor. An unknown individual entered her house on returning home one night, and so she spent the night away from home for the safety of herself and her 3-year-old daughter. The Taylor's youngest daughter, just turned 18, has been accosted in the street where a male sneered into her face and told her she is an embarrassment, and on a separate occasion has been subjected to having some kind of liquid thrown over her from a passing vehicle. Stephen Fraser has been called, I don't know if I should say the words, begins with a W, and it's got K-E-R at the end, C something something T in the street while carrying out his duties. He has been slapped in the face, all before the alleged window breaking incident. His car had 2 bolts removed from his car wheels. Now, in that car, he actually does transport a 3-year-old child. Many years ago, Councillor Dale was punched in the face in one of our open spaces. I'm therefore appealing for those decent members of the town to challenge this behaviour. It is not right, and who knows where it could all lead. You only have to see what happened to the 2 MPs, Joe Cox and David Amos, both stabbed to death in their own constituencies and in the course of their daily duties. Hate comes from denial, ignorance, personal grudges, and even mistaken beliefs. That is why I urge anyone who hears or reads any information about the Town Council or its staff and councillors to write in to double check if such news is true or false. I'm always available to go over anyone's concerns, and if something is reported and appears to be fake news or is misinformation, I will, where I can, set the record straight. I would also urge the administrators of the local Facebook, tweet, Instagram pages to do better and not permit any libelous posts to remain for all to see. It fosters hatred, is unfair if derisory to any individual, and gives our lovely town such a bad name, especially when it hits the press. After all, would we allow this if there were any other members of Attleborough's other committees or voluntary local organisations? Your local councillors are there to help improve the town. They are not perfect, and there is always room for improvement. Please let's all strive to work together. More importantly, let's work on fact, not rumour or fake news.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
Is it not possible to sort the microphone out? We're getting a lot of pops and bangs, and I'm not sure whether you're aware of it. Can't hear half what you're saying, ready?
Sorry, can I just say one thing? That's right, I've got 2 seconds. I appreciate what you've just said, I really do, I take it on board. All I would say is
Can we
moving
suspend
forward.
standing orders
Sorry, yeah,
for this
I was gonna say
resident
that,
to
I was
speak
gonna say
because
that.
it's not protocol?
Yeah, look,
I propose we suspend standing
okay,
orders so we
Councillor
can
Dale,
speak.
second.
I second it.
Yeah, all in favour, please. Thank you.
So, just carry on. All I would say is in moving forward with this council, if any of you knew anything that wasn't right, let us know. We don't want to hear it in the papers.
Quite.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, yes, I understand where you're coming from, but when you mention we don't want it reported in the news about this, that and the other. All we've had in the paper is negative about this town council, the last 4 articles.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I agree. I mean, from a personal perspective, I like to think I uphold the Northern principles. I'd like to think that my colleagues do the same, and obviously if they don't, they need to be standard and corrected. But we are all here as volunteers, I stress that, as volunteers. We don't get paid a penny to do the best for the town, for the town as a whole. I've lived here 28 years, worked here for most of that time as well. And I'm doing this to put something back. And I'm doing it to the best of my abilities. It's not always the best. It might not always be the way other people might want it doing. But I do it to the best of my abilities. And I think the vast majority of people here do exactly the same. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I'd like to think if we make a mistake, we pay, we take the consequence of it. That's down to personal judgment. But, and I'd like to think that I act in that principle. But, I would stress we are human beings. We're doing it to the best of our abilities, for the benefit of the town and the townspeople. We all want to see this town grow and be the best it possibly can.
Can I just add that whilst I can understand your concerns, the hypocrisy of you all sitting there after what I went through when I was on the town council, by current councillors sitting there, I didn't leave my house for 8 months. And one of you on there started a rumour that I'd run off with a dear friend to New Zealand. No, I hadn't run off. I was hiding. I didn't answer my front door. I blocked numbers on my phone because of the treatment I came under as a town councillor from somebody that's sitting there. And there's another lady sitting in this room that was also intimidated by current councillors. So before you all start preaching and calling people trolls, when you've been on the receiving end of intimidation, threats, being called a CUNT, being told knock her block off, having to get the police in to put a marker on my property because I feared for my own welfare, and then you have the audacity to actually pay for counselling for you lot. Where was the counselling for me and for Sue and for Roger? Where was the counselling? It wasn't, was it? But when the boot's on the other foot, oh, we're all poor little us, poor little us. So just remember that. You want the public to behave to you with respect. Well, maybe people sitting around that table need to start treating the public with respect and not treating us like cattle and not shouting at us like fishwives and not getting in your face and saying, I suggest you wind your neck in.
And that behaviour is totally unacceptable. Right?
Well, the councillor that would like to make an apology for the way she treated us.
Can I just say that in my report, I did say that if anybody experiences any type of behaviour that they're not comfortable with, the correct medium is to go via the monitoring officer.
Which we all did, and they all came back, no further action.
Well, then,
I wonder why.
Well, the monitoring officer is supposed to be neutral and objective.
Supposed to be.
Well,
Can I just
can't help that, I'm very sorry.
Can I just say, you asked for us to be respectful to our councillors, which is absolutely right. But one of these councillors was disrespectful to a couple because a gay couple, because they said that to me is a bit of a hate crime. And that deputy there, who said she did not see the situation, quite clearly saw it, and that it's total hypocrisy, absolute liars.
When the clerk said I got punched, that was going back a few years, and I did, but I dealt with it. I didn't need counselling because In my book, if you're a councillor, you're a councillor 24/7. Although recently I've been told that's an old-fashioned attitude, but it's an old-fashioned attitude that I will stick to, because if you take on the role of the councillor,
I feel exactly the same way. We should be seen upon as role models. I use the analogy of a footballer. The footballer gets hauled up for drunk driving or something like that. They rightly get admonished for it because they're meant to be a role model.
But can I just butt in? Sorry, the other thing, I'm the only one in this room that's not on social media, and I'm happy.
And I'm not either. Councillor Taylor.
Whilst we're bringing the debate back to the table and we've diverged from the agenda, I would just like to point out two things. The gentleman there, if you actually go and stand on the pavement where the deputy mayor was and turn to your left, you actually cannot see Mr. Allington's window or would have been able to see any damage. I urge you to go stand on that pavement and do that before you cast your aspersions. You cannot see your window. You're in a flat common. You're in a flat common. If you stand where Councillor Taylor was in that video, and turn to your left, you cannot see the front of your premises, so she wouldn't have been able to see any damage. I'm just giving you, please, all of you in this room, go and stand on that pavement where she is in that video and turn to your left. Which you've been able to see the damage, I'm just asking you to make that decision yourself. No one is condoning what Councillor Fraser has been accused of, and hopefully he will be dealt with in the correct manner. My second point is, I would like to point out, when the clerk discussed the the debate not hate campaign, and asked to put it on the agenda, did we mind? I didn't mind. I will say I didn't ask for this item to go on the agenda. I have not asked for counselling. When my son hung himself, I didn't require counselling. A few nutters on Facebook spoiling vile untruths definitely aren't going to drive me to counselling. I've got a better backbone than that. But I support any counsellor that at any point does need counselling. Councillor De Souza is suffering a little bit at the moment himself. Should he require counselling, that policy should be in place. I did not vote to it. He mentioned it.
Private business.
Well, I'm sorry, Councillor De Souza, but while my private business is
Can we
free
keep it
for
civil,
all,
please?
then Councillor De Souza, I've thrown you under the bus as well. I apologise.
He's trying to call.
Yeah, he is. But actually, he's doing that for you because he thought you were letting me speak.
Stop, please. That'll do.
Respect for the mayor, please.
Can we? Thank you.
Does that not go both ways, Councillor Westby,
It does,
respect
it
for
goes
the
both
mayor?
ways,
Yes. So I abstained from this.
Thank you. Yes, please. Just quickly moving on.
I was on it for 2.5 years on the council. I was mayor for probably 6 months and I resigned because a member of this group wouldn't be quiet. And I could pretty much say that it speaks for itself tonight. And I actually went and spoke to her and said, can you please allow me to do my job? Next time I came in, carried on again, so I resigned. Now that to me is showing that all this time there's still a bully in the ranks.
Yes.
Right. Can we move on, please?
Can we just move on, please? Because we're not going to get anywhere this way. We take on, I think, as a council, we take on what's being said.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think we need to move on. I'm sorry, I shouldn't interrupt, but
No, that's
it's
absolutely
just getting, I'm sorry.
Couldn't agree more.
Please upload that to social media as soon as you get home.
Can I just say the reason I'm
Yeah.
filming, because the reason I'm filming is because I've addressed the quality of recording with the councillors, not one of them got back to me. The quality of the filming is really poor. It's not hard to upload a better quality recording, but for some reason you choose not to, which is why I'm recording. I wouldn't have been recording if you produced a decent quality video.
I've had a look at that today, And it's not the greatest, but it's of an acceptable standard. We can make out who's who, and the audio is quite clear. We will do what we can to improve it. I understand there's been a problem with the laptop. It's not the camera, it's the laptops. But we'll do what we can, but it is an acceptable standard. Apparently we've now got a brand new laptop, so we'll do what we can. We'll check on board what you're saying. Thank you. I'll reconvene the meeting now. So, thank you. Right, item 10, correspondence for the upcoming full council meeting on the 2nd of June today. So, yeah, okay. Right, I understand we received some correspondence which we're going to deal with under the next public participation, because it's the points that have been raised by a resident that can't attend. So we'll do that in the. Moving on to item 11, to approve the extended package offered by Health Assured, which is what we've been alluding to. I mean, personally speaking, I believe that as a council we should be offering counselling and those sort of facilities to councillors and staff. The timing probably could have been better to consider it, but it's something that, you know, the Local Government Association are recommending, and I think it's probably quite good that we may be setting a bit of a trailblaze to be one of the first councils to offer that facility. But it's certainly something that is becoming more widespread. So, anybody got any comments? Are we all happy with?
Yeah.
I think it represents remarkably good value.
Are you saying we're taking it?
Well,
Well, when the vote comes.
Yeah. So can I have somebody to propose acceptance of Councillor Dalton, Councillor Reynolds second? All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. 6.
All those against?
1 against.
2 against?
2 against.
Three.
Sorry, 3.
No, still abstaining.
And 1 abstention.
Carried by majority then. Thank you. Item 12, the Scouts lease response.
Yeah. There are a number of points that were in papers to do with the railway shed.
Yeah.
Three councillors believe that we should retain the shed and it should continue to be used by the Scouts. With regard to the car parking, I believe that the Scouts are not necessarily that happy, but the proposed rent does actually include car park spaces, so it is actually already included in that. The option to extend, would there be any further conditions attached? I don't think so. The wording of the lease is quite clear. But the comments back from their solicitors is, given that this may impose further costs on both parties, I have said to my clients that this should meet their requirements, but he would like to know if the client would also consider a 40-year lease with a break at the 25-year mark, which I can't quite see the difference between that and giving a 25-year lease with an option to extend for 16. So I just recommend that we just stick to what we like, and you know, I think that's fair because it doesn't sort of make much difference.
The shed has me confuddled, and it doesn't take much, I know. But if it's that bad, why do they want to repair it, want to keep it? And
Yeah.
I just would like a little bit more information on that, because they said it's in poor condition.
Yeah,
And,
because I do believe, Vera, that we really should get a structural survey.
yes, I
done.
think so, yeah. And I do think a 25-year with an option to take on is what I would.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. And they want, with regards to the removal of the landlord break, noting that rent reviews timings are normally not of the essence, would you councillors be agreeable for this to take place on the basis that time does become of the essence for your client to deal with the rent review? I think it's important if they've got a break. I think that, as the landlords, you should also have
There
a
should be a
break.
break,
I
break,
don't
yeah.
think that there should be any leeway on that. Is that okay?
The break clause is normally applied to both sides.
Yeah, I would have said so. I think they're trying to remove it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it really. So, do you want me to go back with the comments? Obviously, there's no need to necessarily make a resolution unless anyone totally would like to.
I think I'm in agreement with Thea regarding the structural review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's not safe, it's not safe.
No.
So it needs to be done with it.
Okay.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with the comments that were made by Councillor Dale and just say that I'm quite content with, those comments being taken back without resolution today.
Yeah.
And then the final draft coming back
Yeah.
for that resolution once,
We'll agree
once
with
it's in place.
Agree with the finalised document. Yeah.
Okay, will do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 13, the first draft of the biodiversity policy for consideration and resolution. Anybody got any comments on that? Yeah. Okay, Councillor Taylor.
No comments. I appreciate that this has been put in place because it's now a requirement to have one. So I feel that it is something that we need to adopt, but obviously can keep under review.
Somebody propose?
Quick question. I take it this is in line generally with other surrounding councils, or are we sort of stamping the ground the first one? No, fine, okay. I'm happy.
Councillor Taylor proposed, Councillor Strike
Yeah.
second. All those in favour of the initial draft? Yeah, agreed, thank you. Item 14, Brecon car park proposal for consideration resolution.
We've kind of duplicated there, but
Yeah.
the intention was to update on the arrangements for the upcoming election. I think we just need to say that the deadline
Which
is
is
Friday for
14.
nomination.
14.
Yeah.
Car park.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Anything to add on the car park? Anything to add?
Well, we've got to now decide on, because it's been put to us from the council.
Of course it is.
The leasehold situation.
So the Planning and Highways Committee recommended that consideration of the Brecon car park proposal was put to full council rather than just been decided by a select few, as it were. So the proposal is that, do you want to elaborate on the proposal here?
Yeah, well, you are going to take a proposal which is to accept the leasehold proposal as it stands, with a view to reckoning your value each and every car park that's in every borough, and then with a view to obviously seeing what that valuation is, and then signing up to the leasehold if with the clause within that states that should this council come up with the funding to purchase the car parks at the agreed valuation, or whatever is the agreed value to sell and purchase, to then break the leasehold in order to go forward with the freehold acceptance. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anybody got any comments on that, or any counter proposals? Councillor Dalton.
Yeah, on the basis of this, I would still want to make sure we've got all the costs involved sorted first, so that we know exactly what it would cost us as an outlay.
Right, yeah.
What he was going to say.
Anyone else got any comments? No. Can I have a proposal then to follow that path? Councillor Goldman, seconder. Councillor Reynolds. All those in favour? All those not in favour? Abstaining? Okay, 2 Bradford councillors abstaining.
And 2 town councillors abstained. At
Sorry.
this table, I'm a town councillor.
Yeah, but I'm due to get just Bradford council. Okay, item 15, I think we've already dealt with that, haven't we?
Yeah, I understand that nomination papers have to be in by Friday.
Yeah, they've got to be in by Friday, nomination papers. Just out of interest, is there anybody here who's put themselves forwards? 1, 2, 3, good, 4. Excellent. That's the vote. Moving on to item 16, small grant application from St Mary's Church for £975 for the purchase of 3 gazebos for outdoor events in the churchyard. Any comments? Councillor Taylor?
I would like to propose the grant, please.
Second that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Well, right.
All those in favour? Thank you. Item 17, public participation, part 2. Anybody got any comments? Yes, please.
I'd just like to say something really about the car park really. It's normally when a district council gives you, I mean, that's a liability, that car park. And someone's saying they don't quite know what the costs are. Normally they would say, you would have it with a community sum. So they would say, okay, so that would basically cover the cost for X amount of years. But it appears that we could be buying this, not that they're giving it to us with a community sum. I mean, like public toilets or a car park, or a play area, that kind of thing. Local authorities normally say you can take this liability, but you've got to, we'll give you a community sum for doing so. But is there a community sum on the table, you know?
If it's leasehold, I think it's at nil value.
But you talk about buying, aren't you?
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, what I will say is the car parks are in excellent condition.
Well, it is at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
But
So
someone's got to maintain it as well on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a annual basis. There's a cost involved. And someone just said, one of your councillors said, they don't quite know what the costs are at the moment. So I hope you wouldn't commit to something without knowing what the costs are.
we won't be committing. We will get the cost before we actually.
But seriously, is there not going to be a committed sum? It's a liability. It's not an asset.
I don't think there is going to be a committed sum.
I don't think so, not reading the paper.
But there will be the income from car park charges.
Yeah, that's it.
So you say you'd get it back by charges?
Yeah.
I'll do that well.
You take the risk though of it going to central government and paying national car park rates locally.
That's certainly my concern. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, and I forgot to just raise those.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. A resident who couldn't make it tonight just asked me to address these issues with councillors. First point, Park G on the Park, issues with the licence. Why is this so difficult for ATC to assist? But as I understand it,
Mr. Cossey's sorted that.
yeah, that issue has already been sorted, and the council have voted to allow some carnival committee to go ahead and apply for their own licence for the month of July. So that has been resolved. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes, they came last week.
They did,
Week
yeah.
before last.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure if this resident was aware of that. But I thought I'd better just air it so that it's all made clear. After a Christmas light switch on, why still the thunder from the voluntary group?
Why?
Right.
Well, as I understand it, the idea was to make it a 2-day event, which actually would be, or should be, a more enjoyable event, which is extended. So you have Christmas market, you also have the carnival, with the fun fair happening on 2 days. So the idea is supposed to be an extended event with the Christmas light switch on happening on Thursday. That's the only difference. And the Christmas Lights Committee are happy with that.
Yeah, with respect, if I could just interject, I'm a trader who was booked in for the Sunday, and it is a lovely idea to do the Saturday and the Sunday, absolutely agree with that. But the way it was done, I don't agree with. Obviously, perhaps if the town council had approached the Christmas Carnival Committee a few months ahead of time and said, we think this would be an even better thing, if we make it a weekend and all work together, fantastic, but unfortunately.
They did, unfortunately, they did approach the Christmas Carnival Committee.
And they said?
And they weren't necessarily happy, but the intermediary was the Christmas Lights Committee, and they decided that they liked the idea. So really, the decision was not the town council's about to switch on, it's actually the Christmas Lights Committee. I hope I'm right in saying that.
I didn't participate.
Yeah.
But it is, can you see on the side of the trailers for the Sunday, it is a little bit of toe treading, and will anybody come on the Sunday and buy anything because they've already been on the Saturday?
I don't know if there'll be, because there's only going to be the Christmas market stalls on Thursday, am I right in saying that? Christmas market stalls are not going to be on the second day, it'll be the other stalls, won't it?
The second day, the Christmas Carnival, there usually is stalls.
Yeah.
But that is a separate event.
Yeah, so
we can't presume to say what there will or won't be, because it's not a town council event. I was just going to add clarity, in terms of Stephen Thunder from the community group. I can't remember exactly how that was worded, Sharon, when you read it, but as far as I'm concerned, the Outdoor Christmas Light Committee is independent of the town council, is a community group itself, and ultimately they can decide when they turn their lights on.
And they've had your help in obviously steamrolling the weekend, so you didn't say, no, let's not upset the other committee, you happily said, yeah, let's upset them. That's the
I
only
don't
one you
think it
wanted
was
to make.
predicted that they could have been upset. And also, before we
Wouldn't
have
you
the
be, if someone had organised an event the day before you were having a fair on the Sunday, and someone said, we're doing one on the Saturday, you say, oh, brilliant, that's a great idea, fill your boots. Of course you wouldn't.
The Christmas, the Summer Carnival do exactly that themselves, they have a 2-day event, actually, this year they're doing a 3-day event.
And what does that tread on, what toes does that tread on, sorry? Don't roll your eyes, that's very disrespectful, Ms Taylor.
Can I just come in and just maybe for some clarity, there were three options put to the Christmas Light Committee. One was that the town council put their own looms around the square, as well as theirs, so 2 sets, and the town council maybe, as they were going to do more events on the square, purchased their own lights, as this was going to be an evening event. And they said they didn't feel that the brackets and that would accommodate 2 looms lights. The next option was that fairy lights went around the railings, and that they were then went into the council's electricity box, and the light committee come back and said, well, ours are already plugged in by then and already set up, that would interfere with our setup. So then the next option that was put to them that could they just turn the square on and leave the whole rest of the town and do that? And again, they said that that would interfere because the market is supposed to be more attracted to adults, like as a commercial market rather than a family day. They were very much of the opinion that that again would muck up their timers, their switches, it would up their costs because their electrician would have to come back out the next day and reset their timers and seal them all again, and that would. So it was actually the light committee that said we will just switch on a day early. They were given 3 different options. The chairman of the light committee has those correspondence. I'm sure, I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he would be approachable. but there were other options put to them because it was fully aware that the Sunday is a family day, whereas the market was supposed to be commercial, aimed at adults, go on later into the evening. There was other options put forward. It wasn't a case of this is just rough trod, that's what's going to happen.
Could I just ask the town councillors who are on the Christmas Light Committee to put their hands up? There you go. Thank you.
Can I just add, not a single councillor that is also a member of the Atborough Christmas Lights Committee was present for that decision.
I verify that because I was there and I watched them walk away from when they made that decision.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Are we still for the public or?
We're just going through the correspondence with the
points that the residents made, can't be here tonight.
Sorry?
We're just going through some points that a resident asked me to make,
Sorry,
because
I
they
beg
couldn't
your
be here
pardon. I wouldn't
tonight.
like to exclude. Thank you.
Caretaker issues to be resolved to ensure voluntary groups get the service that used to be provided, provide more funding if required. I do get what you're saying, it actually isn't a matter of funding, it's a matter of availability. Trying to get a caretaker who is available most of the day, and that's early in the morning from about 6:30 up until, I'll just say, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and to get them to keep coming back to set up and set down for the groups, it's really, really difficult to get the staff to do that. So I do take on the points that you could split the shifts so that you have more part-time caretakers, but not everyone wants that because they actually do need the hours. So it's like a balance. So the compromise and the charges to set up were actually put into the hire agreement well before the public got to hear about it. Those charges were always there, but the crunch time came when we lost a recent caretaker who resigned because he couldn't necessarily fulfil the hours that we were asking him to do, so we then had to re-advertise, so I felt as if something had to be done. So I hope that clarifies that.
When there's no caretaker available, can't you email one of us and ask us to come in and do it? Well, we stood to volunteer.
Yeah, I can do, but then that's you not necessarily gonna be available, and then it's like, it's basically, oh, it's on the hoof. And that means that we can't guarantee that, so we don't want to leave, we want certainty, and we have to have an arrangement that's put in place so that everyone is certain that they'll have their setup done, and everybody's boundaries are clear. So that's the reason behind the setup. And I must say, the Heritage Group, who are, I think, a couple of members here tonight, they've been really helpful and accommodating. So I really thank them because they've been really helpful to other groups as well, not just for themselves. So thank you.
Are you advertising for a caretaker at the moment?
No, we've got two at the moment.
So I thought you said that the reason you were having to do this was because of staffing issues.
That's because the new caretaker, prior to him, we had a caretaker who left recently, about, I'll say about 3 months ago. We were without a caretaker until we needed to advertise for quite some time, but we do have a replacement for that caretaker who left. I believe he left in February.
Sorry, I might be being dim here. I'm a bit confused that you said the reason for the charges was a staffing issue and trying to get the staff.
Yeah.
But you've also said that you have got the staff.
I've got the staff now. However, the setups are they're things that happen at different times of the day. So my priority with my caretakers is to get the cleaning done and to also get the repairs done. Setups are not highest on my list of priorities, unfortunately.
But they always have been.
I know they have, yeah.
So what we're saying here is it's not a staffing issue, it's the fact that you've decided.
It is a staffing issue, Debbie, because.
Well, before you have to, you've always had two caretakers, and they used to do it before, but now you're saying they can't do it because.
Well, we keep losing them, we keep losing our
Well,
caretakers.
maybe there's this company, I think they're called SF Services, that you're subcontracted to.
Yeah.
Maybe they could come up with another.
Well, they are the second caretaker.
Yeah, but haven't they got somebody else on their books that can help out?
They might have, I could ask them. But it's not just about that, it's about, we're also taking on, we've got to look to the future, we've now opened the youth provision. We also now have to clean the Lono building.
So have you budgeted for that? Have you
Well,
not-
we're trying to adapt, this is what I'm trying to do.
So you're trying to, you've got two caretakers, you've taken on the old football club that you call the Bono building, you've now opened this other facility.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is you haven't got enough caretaker cover to fulfil all three buildings. So I'm saying when you were budgeting for taking over the football club and opening this new facility, did you not cost in cleaning and caretaker responsibilities into that?
Yes, we did, and this is why I'm adapting, because, and I must say, we have actually resolved all the issues with the setups. So nobody, as far as I'm aware, is very unhappy about it. So.
On that subject of caretakers, the loos, how long have they been closed for?
I know.
No, I'm asking how long?
Probably since before Christmas.
So in that time, and you regularly report that you're trying to get them sorted. Have you not considered putting temporary loos there?
Yes.
So why haven't you?
I'm going to ask if we can, because it's gone on long enough. I didn't realise it would take so long.
Can I just add that the reason the toilets are not in use is that we're trying to make them secure and usable, but they keep being vandalised.
But they've always been vandalised, and the previous caretaker, bless his heart, used to, do his best to keep them clean. But it's a bit of a coincidence that since the old caretaker left, suddenly the loos are shut for like 7 or 8 months. It's odd.
It is too long. We've had difficulties sourcing the doors, the operating mechanisms. But the entire reason that the toilets are out of commission is because they've been vandalised, and to be briefly honest.
Could you not get private contractors in and chuck the one, or charge the ones you've got doing the contract at the moment, just to get one of them going?
Possibly.
The new door that's been put on has no lock on the inside, so therefore when you use the toilet, when you were going to use the card mechanism, when you actually then enter, the door will automatically lock. But unfortunately, the flushing mechanism is attached to the mechanism that's attached to the old door. So we have to wait until the contractor comes in to basically reconnect everything. So unfortunately, I wanted to get the toilets opened, and then when we discovered that actually the flushing mechanism is attached to the new door,
There must be other people who know how to work apart from your contract.
Well, I don't know, if you can make any suggestions, I would welcome them.
I was just going to say, so no one can take legal action against for not fulfilling their contract, for breach of contract.
We'll look into that.
Yeah.
That's certainly.
I am considering that.
Right.
Bannon Poultry, smell issue needs addressing. Yes, I have reported that to them, and we do have a representative. We've got 2 representatives. I think one on the town council, and Breckland also have a representative, which I believe is Councillor Taylor. And our representative is Councillor Dale here at the town council.
Can I just say, it's all right being a representative, but you've got to get in the door, which is really hard at the moment, really hard.
Yeah. I think we just need to keep trying, keep on it. And then we have addressed the issue with 30-mile-an-hour speed limit on Norwich Road. It will happen. It should have happened on the 9th of May. I haven't managed to get in touch with the Highways engineer to ask why there is a delay, but I will try and keep you posted. Last point, sorry, it's been so long. Healthy balance within the coffers would suggest penny pinching isn't required. Balance increased in 2023 to 2024 year by nearly 160,000. 2024 balance stands at 1,078,594 with a further 22,991 pounds in cash and short-term investments. I agree that, you know, we have a general reserve at the moment standing at 409,000. The rest is earmarked. And obviously we have the preset budget that we obviously have to work towards as well, which is 707,552.
Can I just bring up about legal? Sam Kelly just mentioned something about that. Back in February 23, a resolution was passed by the then Town Council that at the end of the contracted time, you would cease to use Rogers and Norton due to either a perceived conflict of interest or a conflict of interest, as Rogers and Norton were acting on behalf of Taylor in a private libel case. Now, you are still using Rogers and Norton, and you were using them for the duration of her private libel case. And you've gone against that resolution.
I haven't signed anything with Rogers and Norton with regard to anything that recent events as yet.
Yes, but what I'm saying is they were coming to the term of the end of the contracted term, and it was agreed that you would cease to use them. That was before you started. Unfortunately, the previous clerk was driven out, and he was in the process of changing lawyers, and nothing's ever happened, and you're still using Rogers and Norton, and I suggest that that is a conflict of interest when certain councillors around the table are using Rogers and Norton in private matters.
Councillor Taylor.
Just for a point of clarification, Sharon, when the town council started reviewing some of its leases, I do believe that actually the town council under your clerkship was using Spire, because I do believe that 3 councillors had to take in photographic identification to verify, and I was one of those, so I do recall that actually Spire was used. I do believe that actually there was certain delays that were causing issues for the council, which is why they reverted back to an alternative solicitor so that things could be processed in a timely manner.
Yeah.
And that was done by council resolution, which would trump any prior resolution.
Yeah.
But that's a conflict of interest.
Can't comment on that. It's a matter of legal privilege. I can't comment on that.
Okay, I'll wind up the public participation now. Oh, sorry, one more. Sorry, Peter.
We finished, have we? Or-
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Peter Neal. I am a former councillor. I did 10 years on this town council, several years ago I might add, and I had the privilege of being mayor for one of those sessions, 2002, 2003. Several ex-mayors in the room here this evening, some around the table and some in the public gallery. There used to be, every year, a photograph of the mayor as they finished their year of office, and they were all the way along this top room here, starting from 1984, the very first mayor, Sid Wilson. I shan't mention all the others, we'll be all here all night. Okay. Just wondering, they're not there now, where they are, what's happening to them, who's using them, and why are they where they were. Yeah.
We've just decorated the chamber, so they were taken down to facilitate the decoration, and they've.
Are they going back up?
They will be going back up there, as far as I'm aware. No reason why not, no.
Just after what time? No reason why not.
No.
They obviously took down for a reason.
Well, they were taken down.
Yeah, absolutely.
To decorate.
I
So
just wondered.
we just haven't got around to putting them back
I can't see
again.
any reason why not, Chairman. Well, they either are going back.
Well,
up
they
or
will go up. They will go
Thank
up.
you.
They will go up. Okay, moving on then, thank you very much. Items for the next agenda, item 18. Anybody got any questions, things they want added on?
We'll
No?
find a good time to get an update on the car parks.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's only a month, so will we get an update?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. Okay. Moving on to item 19 then, unfortunately, exclusion of the press public. To pass a resolution excluding the press public from the meeting, given the sensitive nature of the business to be discussed. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Thwaites, Councillor Dalton, second. All in favour? Thank you very much. Thanks very much for your interest and,